What are the best investments you can make as a content creator to advance your career, to get things rolling, to increase your production quality, to actually make results happen? Well, today we're going to talk about the hardware and the software that you can spend your money on. What are our favorites and also which ones are not, and where you're going to get that point of diminishing returns. Look, tons of people are spending crazy dollars right now on equipment. I was just telling you guys right before the show, the price of Logitech webcams has gone up from like $50 for the 920 up to $250. They're flying off the shelves. Logitech Brio was like $200. The camera you guys are using right now went up to like $350. So clearly, millions, tens of millions of people are working from home right now, but they don't have the gear they need. They don't have the software they need to make this thing happen. So boys, are you ready to give some good advice on what we like to use and what we've been using for a long time and is actually useful?
Yeah, I think we take this for granted a little bit. We've had some of this stuff for a long time. We've known about it for a long time, but let's talk about it. We've got we have a lot to cover here. We've used a lot of products. You can take our advice for the stuff that we like, try the stuff that we have. You even put together an awesome gear guide, I think, right?
We do have a gear guide that we can use. So propodcastinggear.com was the one we did that was more like audio focused and for podcasters. And then gamingcreatorgear.com was the one that was specifically for gaming creators. But those are just free guides, by the way. We're not asking you for your email. Just go look at the equipment. No strings attached. So let's talk about the big investment for most creators, which is your computer. And Ross, Perrin, both of you guys have bought big computer purchases recently. And so Perrin, I'd like to kick it over to you. What is your thinking that goes behind purchasing a computer? What are the most important components? How should you be thinking about budget? Because there's options anywhere from $1,000 for a decent creator computer up to $6,000 if you want to pimp it out with crazy lights and water cooling and the whole nine. So what is actually worth your dollars, man?
Well, it depends on what you're going to do with it. So a lot of the time, the main things I have to do are I'm going to be doing gaming on it, and I'm going to be doing gaming as a creator. So there's a lot of power required there. I'm going to be doing video editing, of course. I'm going to be doing live streaming. So, and I'm going to need multiple monitors because I'm going to be doing complex technical setups. So when I look at a system, it needs to have really good graphical power, and it has to have good CPU power too. And it's tough because right now with the whole Bitcoin thing, GPUs went up in price. So the cost of these type of systems can go up. So I look for anything nowadays for that type of setup. I want a desktop computer in my home office that isn't going to move. I'm not moving around, driving around, going to different places and working. So which means I would need a laptop. I am working from home every day from my home office. I need a desktop computer. That's the first thing to consider is like, do you need to be able to move and work? Do you need to be able to drive somewhere else and work from a different location? If so, then you need a laptop. Are you going to be working from home all the time from an office? Get a desktop. Don't use a laptop in your home office that isn't going to move anywhere. Get a desktop. You're going to get more power for your money. I know desktops seem a bit antiquated now, but you're going to be able to do more with a desktop, especially if you're doing video editing, especially if you're doing live streaming. I look for something in the range of $1,200 to $2,000. And in that range, you should be able to get, for what I need, enough power, enough processing power, enough graphical power to do all of those things. My current rig costs $2,000 or so, and it can do everything. It has a top-of-the-line graphics card, top-of-the-line CPU, and I can basically stream the top level games if I want to or need to. And I can also graphic edit, video produce, render quickly. That's the biggest thing that it will do for you if you go higher graphical power is you can render things more quickly.
Because of the GPU acceleration that's now built in, especially with NVIDIA cards, right? So like partners like Adobe have optimized their software to use NVIDIA graphics cards to accelerate video previewing and video rendering and video encoding using those new juicy RTX encoders. I've noticed on my 2060 RTX card on my laptop that I can render like a 25-minute 4K video in 6 minutes using those new encoders. It's bananas, dude.
Yeah. So and then the next thing, if you're doing that type of video editing and you're doing that type of rendering, actually, and even if you're not, get more than one monitor. Have at least two, because your productivity increases by a percentage, and I don't remember the percentage off the top of my head. It's something like 110 or something like that, but don't quote me there. But your your ability to get more work done will improve by having two monitors, because you can put something that you're referencing on monitor one and you can work on monitor two, and you don't have to swap in between. And that allows you to do a lot more. So go for at least two monitors, if not three. I know that might sound crazy to some of you, but here I'm looking at three and like that's not enough. But I'm doing complicated technical setups, I'm doing live streaming, etc. But at least two. And that's probably the most important thing for productivity, is having more than one screen.
Okay, pre-built computer, custom builder computer, or build it yourself. What's your opinion on that? And then I'm going to kick it over to Ross and get his opinion on his new computer that he got.
So I would only custom build if you are really tight on money and you have some knowledge of what you're doing. If you don't, but you want to learn it, which I highly recommend building your own computer. It's incredibly fun to do. There are lots of good resources out there. Reddit has great subreddits that you can go to. R build a PC, R suggest a laptop, where you can get advice from people on the parts to buy to build your own computer. But if you don't have expertise there and you just need something to work and you really want to just focus on being a creator, you can buy third party. Right now, the margins are super tight. So you're really not going to be saving a ton by building yourself, unless you're really like deal hopping and you're being patient and looking for like the right deal. You're not going to save like as much money as you used to be able to save because of the GPU price hike. So it's okay to buy third party, but I would go with some of the major manufacturers, Asus. I think CyberPower does lots of great PCs.
Yeah, I recommend CyberPower PC. I've got a pre-built desktop, a customized built desktop over here. I love it. I recommend CyberPower to all sorts of people. If you don't want to build it yourself, the price versus quality ratio with CyberPower is pretty solid. And what you're buying too with a lot of these builder companies is you're buying the customer support if something breaks, right? And if their customer support is God tier and they aren't outsourcing it to some country where they can barely understand you and you're talking to people that are knowledgeable, you're getting help, right? So you're paying the extra money because you don't have the knowledge. That's essentially it, right?
I mean, CyberPower, the supports guys like you and me there. You're going to be talking to another human being, most likely a techie person who's going to be able to help you. That's why you go third party. You get a little bit of bonus. You might run into some more trouble where they might send you something that doesn't quite work. You might have to send it back. There could be some hassle there, but ultimately you get support from them, where if you build your own PC, you're on your own. You're not going to be able to send that to somebody to get help. So
that makes sense. Ross, we ended up recommending a computer to you, and I think you did we got you like an entirely pre-built computer from Amazon, which I think a lot of like our gamer viewers and a lot of our creator viewers would be like, what the F? Like, there's no way he got a good deal. But I shopped it before I recommended this computer to you. There was no computer on any builder website. And also, if you manually added up the cost of the parts, your computer was as expensive, if not cheaper, than any other option. And it was a pre-built on Amazon. So how are you doing with your pre-built computer you got?
Well, it's fantastic, and it's also CyberPower. So I think we're all kind of on the same page with that. And to go back to what Perrin said about the multiple monitors, I can't stress that enough as of someone who just recently made the switch from one monitor to two monitors. To quote Perrin, I think he said it goes up, your productivity goes up by like 2,000%, something like that. That's about right.
2 trillion %.
Yeah, that was the quote. 2 trillion %.
The digital job told me.
Just keep raising it up, man. Just keep raising it up.
Yeah. And, but it's fantastic. It's perfect. I do a different kind of, I don't necessarily stream, but I record podcasts and, take the clips and stuff from there. I couldn't do that on what I used to have. And I still do use, I had a MacBook Air from 2013 and laptop. But what also made that efficient for me, the laptop, is I got a Thunderbolt display monitor with it. So, I can hook it up and take it on the go. And, So from speaking, since you guys already covered the gaming aspect and things like that, and the like if you're saving large video files and you got to go and you got to have that speed to get it done, like what you said, that was a ridiculous speed, AWOL. From a social media standpoint on what you can use, you're not doing the large saving, like you're not saving huge video files and things like that. So I don't think you necessarily need to have a huge, powerful PC. If you have a laptop and you're just creating social content, you can use sites like Capwing that, do it from their server, where you can save 2 minute and 20-second videos, or 5-minute videos, or whatever it is, very simply. It's incredibly easy to use, and we'll talk about Capwing a little bit later. I'm sure.
Cloud-based video editing and creation tools. So that's Capwing. So if you have a crap computer, you can use something like Capwing that'll take on essentially the video processing and storage issues that you may have on your machine. That's a really good point. You don't have to have a couple $1,000 to get started and to start editing.
Yeah, I do recommend getting a monitor, though, a display unit, so you can connect your laptop up to it and, actually sit at a desk and work where you're not looking at, a 20-inch screen down below you. And also, for me, and, it's obviously this is a lot easier said than done for somebody who works in creating social media content compared to someone who's a YouTube content creator. I find it motivating. If I stay in the same place for a long time, I get completely demotivated and burnt out. So it's nice to be able to have a laptop where you can just unplug it from the monitor, go sit in the recliner somewhere, go sit outside, get a breath of fresh air and get the juices flowing again.
That makes sense. So we're talking about computers a lot. I'll just quickly say what my opinion is on computers. We need to move on because there's lots of other things, cameras, microphones, software we need to cover, and we're limited on time. So people laugh at me. They laugh. But I buy creator laptops. So I've got a desktop computer I use for gaming, and I'll use it for other functions too. But I use creator laptops. And NVIDIA has worked with a lot of laptop manufacturers, such as ASUS and MSI, to create creator laptops. And because the cost of these laptop graphics cards has dropped so low, because cooling has improved so much, because basically the processors that you can put in laptops are now so optimized, you can get a laptop that is equally as powerful as a desktop for the same price or less now. The only sacrifice you're going to make is that the CPU is going to be slightly less powerful, unfortunately, for heating and cooling issues than the desktop version. Maybe even significantly less powerful depending on which one you get. But the graphics card that you can get in a creator laptop, like the one I'm streaming on right now that you guys are watching this show on, and I edit every episode of the show on, I've got an RTX 2060 graphics card, 6 gig inside this inside this creator laptop. So any video task, any game, anything I ever need to do with this thing, this laptop will destroy it. And people be like, oh, my desktop computer is so much more powerful. It's so much better. It really isn't. It really just isn't. And these laptops are cheaper if you search for them on Amazon. These creator laptops officially endorsed by NVIDIA are cheaper because they're mass produced. And so that's something that a lot of people forget. Like if you're looking to pick your individual parts, it might actually end up being more expensive to buy the parts than to just buy a mass produced laptop instead. Because when they buy in bulk, when they buy 1,000 graphics cards, they're getting it for a fraction of the price that you're paying to just buy one. That's just math. So let's talk about other investments. So another major investment that you need to be making is in your software. And so a lot of people will pirate video editing software and Photoshop and things like that when they're getting started. Sony Vegas is common because you can pirate it quickly. But once you get past that phase and you realize that, you need to work with a company or a client, or you need to work with anyone else on a project, you can't really use pirated software anymore because it doesn't work. So you kind of need to use the same software everybody else is using. And that is called, what's the name of that program? That suite of programs that every single person uses ever in this industry, Ross? What was it again?
Microsoft Paint is what you're looking for.
Microsoft Paint. That's what it was. Yeah. No, so Adobe Creative Suite, Adobe Creative Cloud. So have you guys bought the entire Adobe Creative Suite? Or do you only buy pieces and parts of it? Which parts are worth the most money? What are the most essential parts, Perrin?
I use the whole suite, but I would say the programs I use most are Premiere for the video editing. I use After Effects for visual effects, and Photoshop. I mean, those are the ones that you're going to be using most commonly. Photoshop for graphics, regular image editing, tweaking, etc., and then actually making video content on Premiere. And if you're not a YouTuber, you're still probably going to be using Photoshop the most. So if that's it, then you probably want just a design suite. So Illustrator, Photoshop, etc. But the whole entire suite is so cheap that it's just like kind of a no-brainer. It's what, $49 a month, I think. It could be.
Yeah, it's $49 a month, and they offer promotions all the time. You can get 20% off. And also, this is a hack you taught me, Perrin. If you cancel your subscription, or like you go to like click to cancel your subscription, they will usually offer you a couple months for free, or offer you a discount if you cancel the subscription. They're like, wait.
This is my pro tip. So anytime you're going to subscribe to any sort of software services, go check and cancel it. Like put in your calendar, in like your Google Calendar, a reminder before the end of the month to go cancel all of your software subscriptions, because most likely they have a program that when you go to cancel, before you get to that last step, they'll offer it to you for 50% less. And then you're like, boom, cheaper for at least half cheaper for 1 month. And then just keep redoing that. And that way also it's good that you don't layer up monthly costs when you stop using something. Like you're revisiting at the end of the month to make sure, am I still using Adobe Creative Suite this month? Maybe I'm not going to be using it this month for some reason. So let's just not pay for it for this month. That way you don't just get hit with random subscription fees that you're not using.
That makes sense. Any other major software purchases you feel like are really worth your money, Ross, that you use on a monthly basis?
It all depends on what you're doing. Like I said, the two that I use out of Adobe, I use Photoshop and Adobe Audition. I don't even, because I do social media content, I don't even need to use Premiere that often. So what I do is I can go literally just through iMovie or something like that and do what I need. Or like we talked about earlier, Capwing, I use that consistently, and I cannot recommend that one enough. It's cloud-based, but this service literally has everything that you possibly need for $20 a month. You can do video editing, you can do photo editing, subtitles, captions. You can literally do everything, and it's so freaking easy to use. So if you're on a tight budget, and there's not a huge difference between $20 and $50, but still, if you got to save an extra few bucks, I can't recommend Capwing enough. And that's really the only one that I ever use. So I keep going back to it, but it's literally, like I said, all I use.
Capwing. Yep. I use Capwing too to do captions on social media content. So what you can do with Capwing, they don't pay us to talk about it, but you can record a video on your phone, and then you can actually just go to the Capwing website using your phone, and you can subtitle it using your phone and download the subtitled video on your phone. So if you're doing a direct-to-camera vlog content real quick for Twitter, which I do on my Twitter feed all the time, I just record the video, upload to Capwing, auto subtitles, upload to Twitter. All in your phone. You can do subtitling all in your phone. I think it's an insanely useful tool. If you're doing video on the internet, on socials especially, and you're not doing subtitling, it puts you at a significant disadvantage unless you're doing live streaming, right? Okay, we're going to go into the power round here in the last few minutes, where we're going to talk a bit about other equipment and other investments and what is worth your money and what is not. So let's go to the gallery view. Oh no, it's all messed up. No.
It's like a Picasso painting.
There we go. That's what we wanted. Beautiful. Power round. So, microphones. So one thing that, is really important for being on conference calls, being in meetings, being in anything, is having a good microphone. And content creators know this for the most part, but there are like basically two different tiers that are worth your money, and in my opinion. So tier one is USB microphones like the Samson G-Track Pro. Also, the Blue Yeti USB mic fits in this category. You're looking at USB mics that are like $130. Buy one of these. This is the first purchase you should make. Do not buy the cheaper USB mics, like the snowballs, like the minis, like the small ones. They look cheaper and they maybe sort of sound the same. Don't buy those. Buy the $120 to $130 USB microphones like the Samson G-Track Pro and Blue Yeti, and don't buy anything more expensive than that or anything less expensive than that. This is the point of diminishing returns when you get into being a creator. You can buy one of these and use one of these forever. You never have to have better quality. Done. If you want to move up to tier 2, like the equipment that we're using, these big boys, then that is a significant financial investment more than that, because you'll need to buy an incredible mixer, an incredible microphone. You need to get the boom arm, the shock mount, the XLR cable, the headphones, the whole nine to go with it. And you're looking at something like a $800 investment, a $500 to $800 investment to move up to tier 2 equipment. The difference in audio quality between this and this is noticeable, but it's not game breaking. What are your opinions on this, guys? I mean, obviously the Rode gear that we use on our podcast, we love it. It's plug and play. It just sounds amazing out of the box. And what are your opinions on it making that investment to this like $500 to $800 level out the gate versus waiting until later?
No, definitely scale up. So when you're looking at if you're starting this home business, this home creator thing, don't look at getting all of this gear, this material out the gate. Like, get the most essential components first, and then over time tier them up. That's what we've all done. I was on Audio Technica AT2020 USB, which was $120.
It's a $120 tier mic. Yep.
6-7 years, and I still have it. It's sitting on my shelf, still totally usable. That thing was fine for almost everything. You don't need to go this level. This is for like end game. Whenever you're starting to see success and you have money to sink back into your business, that's when this stuff comes in. Don't get this stuff first. Scale up. You don't need that type of quality. Quality is actually not that important. Quantity is way more important on the internet than quality is. So keep that in mind.
Yes, the money. But Ross, I see some things behind you that are gray. How important are those to getting decent audio quality?
Oh, these are fantastic. Acoustic panels are, it really just depends. There are a lot of homes, and, depending on what the structure of your home is, where you don't necessarily need acoustic panels. However, if you have an echo, if your office is in more of an open space, even if there's an echo somewhere else in your house, you'd be surprised about how the mic can pick up on that, especially if you're using a lower quality mic. So having acoustic panels is incredibly important, and you'll notice a difference right away. And it's kind of hard to explain. Number one, the echo, any echo whatsoever, is just greatly reduced. So again, it's just if you can, knock on wood, listen to the echo. If you can hear an echo, get some acoustic panels, and you'll be surprised at how cheap these are. I think I got 50 for. They were about $1 a piece. I think they were about $1 a piece. I had a deal somewhere else, but you can get these for about $1 a piece. You can get them on Amazon, and they come in a tiny little box. They don't take up any room. And then, just throw them up. You want some in front of you and you want some behind you. And going back real quick to what Perrin had recently talked about, with the microphone, what I did for a long time, and I will gladly help anybody out if you want to DM me on this. If you cannot afford a higher quality mic, even, $115 mic, if you're stuck within the Blue Yeti or the Snowball range, what you can do, there are tips if you have access to Adobe Audition, where you can still record that and then go back into Adobe Audition and remove the echo and stuff afterwards. I will gladly help anybody else out. But as content creators know, time is of the essence. So if you are able to make a purchase, something like this, where you have an extra $1,000 or $800 to invest, then absolutely do it, just because of the time it's going to save you on editing alone.
Yep.
And time is money.
Yeah, if you can get a mixer that can process your audio in real time, like you're listening to right now. Our voices don't actually sound like this. These microphones and these mixers make us sound this good in real time. So that's what the investment to tier 2 does. Okay, last item, and then we have to end the show because I have to go to a meeting. We have to go service our clients, is cameras. So you can spend infinity money on cameras. But the bottom line is, if you have a decent webcam with decent lighting, then you'll look better than almost everybody else. So lighting is everything. So you see the difference between like me, for example, and Ross and Perrin. It's not to like crap on them. It's just that I have 7-point lighting in here and natural lighting. And so that's why I look so much better than they do right now. The camera I'm using is a DSLR, sure, but it's the cheapest DSLR out there. It's a Panasonic Lumix G7, and the webcam that those guys have is the most expensive webcam out there, the Logitech Brio. And so this is the power of lighting. So investing in something like a Logitech Brio, like these guys have done, smart. About $200 when there's not price gouging. After that, the thing I'll be recommending to them is to buy more professional lighting, like newer stand lights, and more lights to get 2-point or 3-point lighting in front of you, 2-point backlighting behind you, so you're lit up like a freaking Christmas tree. And you will look way better than the vast majority of people out there. A webcam, a $50 webcam with good lighting will look better than a $2,000 DSLR with bad lighting. Lighting is more important than the actual camera when it comes to video quality. So just keep that in mind. So that's something to really look at when you're looking to do an investment. So something like a ring light can make a big difference. Something like a cheaper LED light can make a big difference. If you have a lamp around your house, that's okay. But I recommend staying away from the lamp if you can invest in the actual lights, because you can control the color temperature. It'll give you nice diffusion. You can put it where you want it to be, and it'll just make a giant impact if you can actually invest in those lights. So there's a lot more to talk about here, but I think we covered the basics, boys. Any closing thoughts?
There's a lot more that I would like to cover. Maybe we might have to do another episode here. I feel like we didn't get to talk about a lot of the different stuff that wasn't gear related that were good investments. So
yeah,
we could maybe do a whole episode on that too.
Maybe we should do that. Like things like investing into a lawyer and getting an LLC and getting a contract and getting branding. Damn, we didn't have enough time.
Done. Yeah, well, there's so much stuff to cover still.
Luckily, we are live on Twitter every single weekday at 9 a.m. Eastern. You can check us out on YouTube. Just search Digital Drop Podcast. All the video replays of the show are there, and we're on every single podcasting platform, so be sure to subscribe on the podcasting platform of your choice and give us 5 stars. 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, please. 5 stars. Did I hear somebody say 5 stars on Apple Podcasts? 5 stars. See you in the next episode, everybody. Go create and don't waste your money on garbage. Invest in the things that actually matter. Cool? Adios, amigos. See ya. Bye.